Hello everyone, my name is Yuval Bloomberg, and this is another video in the set of videos I'm creating about Israel election. So we are going to have the fourth election in less than 2 years. The next election are coming in March 21st, 2021. So I'm explaining different aspects of the Israeli politics, Israel election in these videos. I'm trying to simplify it. I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty, not too many details, but just to let anyone who has some interest in the politics of Israel and how the elections is being done to understand. So today video is about the parliament members, how they are being elected, how the prime minister is being elected, and everything that related to that. So first is the parliament structure. The parliament contains 120 members in Israel. So the one that has 61 votes or 61 seats is managing, he's being able to set the government. Now it's not so simple to get the 61, not even one party is getting even closer to that, including not the Likud, the biggest party in Israel today for the last years, the party of Benjamin Netanyahu. It's not his party, of course, but he's the leader of this party for quite a few years. So we have 120 members in the parliament, and before we are going to the election, they have to get anyone who wants to get elected to the parliament must to register a party. This must be done until about 2 months before the election, something like this, and then he start to do the all the regular propaganda campaigns in all the social media, newspapers, everywhere, and trying to get people to vote for him. So in Israel we have about 9 million people today. We have more than 4 million people voting to the parliament. The parliament, by the way, it's called Knesset in Israel. There is a meaning to the name, but I will not get to this now. So each candidate for the parliament has to run through a party. So we have different parties, and they are the political entities that being elected during the election day. So if I'm going to elect on the election day, I will elect a party. This is the note, the bill that I will put in envelope and will put in the box. I'm not putting the name of any candidate for prime minister. It used to be for a very short time in Israel, but it's not existing today. So there is a threshold for a party. There is a threshold for a parliament member. I mean, to get into the Knesset, to get into the parliament. Like I said, we have about or more than 4 million votes. We have 120 seats. So you have to assume that we have about 40,000 votes per seat. This is approximately the equation. So each party, in order to get into the parliament, must gain at least 4 seats. If they got enough votes for 3 seats, the votes are going to the garbage. It won't get into the parliament. This is the threshold, and the reason for that is try to avoid very tiny parties that increasing later on I will call it the blackmail. This is actually almost like this, the political blackmail, when the prime minister, the candidate for being prime minister, has to negotiate before he is establishing his government. So you have to gain at least 4 parliament seats, so it's about 150,000, 160,000, depends on. But this is approximately. We have to get this in order to get into the parliament. So this is the minimum threshold that you must gain into this, and it encouraging, of course, different parties to get different unification in order not to lose votes or not to take a high gamble. Everyone is doing a lot of polls before the election and trying to rearrange the political environment according to this. So small parties without a chance to cross the threshold usually will tend to unite with other parties. So once the election is done, each party will get the number of seats. It will be published. It will take, usually there is the results. It takes about 1 day to 2 days to publish most of the results, almost the final results. And then we are starting the process of government establishing. Now, who is going to get the key to this? Who is going to get the authority to do this? So this authority is being given to the president of Israel, which usually is really, I don't want to say useless, but he's almost have no role, no formal role in Israel. But this is, I think, one of his roles is to give the authority to the candidate with the highest chances to establish government. So all the parties, the representatives, are going to him and telling him who they are recommending to be the prime minister. So eventually, the one with the highest number of votes, like usually it has to be 61 minimum, which is a majority in 120 seats. This one will get the opportunity to establish his government. Then he gets 3 weeks to establish the government. He has to negotiate with other parties, and at the end, if he succeeds, he will establish a government. If he didn't succeed, he can get an extension for 2 weeks, something like this. And then if not, this is what happened, by the way, after the first election. Benjamin Netanyahu fell because a big surprise we had. Then I described it in another video I already did. We had to go to another election because there was no option to establish, to create a government. None of the sides had the option to get 61. And this is because of different restrictions and different stories that are too detailed for this video. But trust me, we had this in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, none of the candidates could achieve the 61 votes, except of the last government. It happened, but it failed quickly. This government survived about 6-7 months, something like this, so not more than that. So today we have quite many parties, mainly in the left side, because of the collapse of the main leftist party, Blue and White, which was a product of advertisement agencies, something very, very artificial, very ridiculous party. It collapsed after a very short time, very short time. It didn't survive more than 2 years. So it's like the Big Bang. A lot of small parties came out of it, and trying each of the leader of each of these parties trying to become the new messiah or the new savior of the leftists. So I lost count on the number of parties we have there, but I assume it's right now we are standing about 6 or 7 or 8, something like this. I don't think anyone else. I don't think we have many people here now that counting how many new leftist parties we have here. However, we do have some main parties in the left side. One of them called Yesh Atid, meaning there is future, led by Yair Lapid. Right now in the polls, this is the biggest party. Maybe he will get 15 seats in the parliament. Right now in the polls, things can change very quickly in Israel. We have the biggest one right now in the polls. It's Likud party. This is the party of Benjamin Netanyahu. It's gaining in the polls now about 30 seats. We have the ultra-Orthodox, which usually stand on 16, 17 seats in the parliament. We have another right-wing party, which is supposed to get about 4. It's called the Jewish House, or the religious Zionism. It's a mix, but it's about right now standing about 4 seats. We have a few more in the center. I would not even call it in the center. It's something which relates to a camp, to a group of political parties. I explained it a lot on the another video I did, why they hate Netanyahu. That few parties that it's just the main agenda is Rak lo Bibi, just not Bibi. I mean, it's like they have not much out of this, but this is like the main message they are bringing. 2 of these parties are standing today. One of them led by Gideon Saar, right now in the polls about 13-14 seats. We have another one called Yamina, meaning right, led by Naftali Bennett. Right now it's about 10 to 11 seats in the polls. So the big question if Benjamin Netanyahu will have 61 seats for a government. It's not clear yet, it's not sure. The leftists for sure will not go with him. And the right, there is one candidate to go with him from this group of parties. It's right wing, Yamina, with Naftali Bennett. He's claiming he is talking a lot against Netanyahu, but we will have to see what will be his stand after the election. So right now, we don't see in the polls any sides that have 61. We will see it. But this is like, in general, the structure of the parliament in Israel. So this is very, today, it's very unstable structure, as it was proved in the last 2 years. And not sure where is it all going from now on. In the past, we did try to separate between the election to a party and election to a prime minister. It didn't work well. So it was cancelled and we returned to vote for parties. And this is how the system is working. If you have any question or you want me to do video about other topics that cover the Israeli election, feel free to write comment below. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel, to smash the like button, and to write comments below. Just let me know if it's anything else you want me to add. Have a great day and see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.